Hi, dan satoja. Kenaskum nava opetagu teganotska tipskak bentonen mioeten. Ai. I just made you uncomfortable. No, I always speak my language first, which is Korean. It's really a polite way of saying I was here first. But anyway, I want to thank Sherry D. She's such a wonderful person and organizer. I have great admiration and love for her. So thank you, Sherry D. And I want to dedicate the reading tonight to my favorite grandsons, my only grandchildren. They're right here with me tonight. They're my heroes. So thank you so much for being here tonight. And essentially, that's what I said. And I do apologize for missing your reading, Ian, and to, where's he, Robert Priest? I know those two. And I'm so sorry I can't stay. I do have to fly out today. I'm on my way to China, so it's one thing after another. Anyway, here we go. And it's an epic poem based on a childhood legend of the rolling head. And essentially, the crooked good has to be read from front to back. So here we go. Okay. The end and the beginning. I made a trip across the largest lake I've ever seen to where the long noses live. There on a hill, boulders sat in a talking circle. I rocked around and gave tobacco. They squeezed their stone-ground hands on my chest as I choked to a decision I had made. My beloved held me. Though I never spoke of it, somewhere in his secret lair he knew. I've sat with Rib Woman since Atayugan became Big Thunder and her big heavens awoken us. Many of us have. Some of us never understand. Some of us have learned to incubate, hatch these million eyes, these million ears, these million noses, these ancient roots that stem through our bodies. It is these sun runners who go deep in the dwelling. Perhaps I am one of them. Egweski, turnaround woman, is the narrator. When I was growing up in a bush on a hillside, I watched the sun arrive from the dark, watched her slip into the dark. I traveled. I didn't know the world back then. I just traveled. I was afraid I would never return. I tumbled that hillside back into myself. You can tell me after you hear this story if my name suits me. I've yet to figure it out. In Rib Woman, stories are born. The old man called it psychology. Me, I just dream it. These gifted, mysterious people of long ago. Kaya seki matausitsik inuak. My mother, a spin, gone for good, would say. They never died. They are scattered here, there, everywhere, somewhere. They know the language, the sleep, the dream, the laws, these singers, these healers. Atayukanak, these ancient story keepers. I turn around, am not one of them. I was taught by old people, an Indian man, a white man, an Indian woman, a white woman. They work in layers in the full veins of Rib Woman. I sat in their thicket wailing. The old ones navigated through my dreams. Sometimes they dragged, scolded, cajoled, cheered, and celebrated. I wanted to be with them, like them. I am not a saint. I am a crooked good. My cousin said I was easy, therefore I've never been a maiden. I am 70, but still I carry my sins. Brothers-in-law I meet for the first time, wipe their hands as if I'm still among the maggots. I didn't know their women wept when their men slept in my bed. I am not a saint. I married Abel, a wide green-eyed man, 50 years now. Inside Rib Woman, I shook hands with promise. Promise, never forgot, trailed me year after year. His big heavens, a morning lake, drowns me in my lair. I learned how to build rib woman, one willow at a time, one skin at a time. I am only half done. This is part of the story. I, Egweski, am a dreamer. I dream awake, asleep on paper. The old man set the universe. The day was the story. So every day I am born. The old white man taught me to unfold night visits. The old woman taught me all of it was real. The old white woman helped me to cry with the thunder. Outside my window stands a rust orange needle tree. Beneath it is a pine, branches with thick spikes. They stand aloof, sure-footed. On my bed lies 3 binders, bellies ink-filled. They wait. My stomach talks. I am hungry for voice, though I live in terror. Unsure what shape will arrive. Voices and thought, a wish, a desire, a dream, a vision. Fingers cannot catch their passing, invisible little people. I am deaf, though my ears strains. Perhaps it is a crazed beast that buys a 2-bit Stetson at a garage sale, but it's just a spin, gone for good, though she is anything but gone. A spin wears Tams, a kerchief now and then, a loose sweater, a V-neck dress whose waist is directly below her breasts. She sews her dresses same shape if fat layers or hunger arrives. Garters hold up thick stockings or cut off ribbed socks at her ankles and moccasin rubbers. Her money stashed in small purses. She says she is always broke. Then she flashes her bank book. Gone for good buys our strawberries, lures us with money and spits out to watch the dog fight. But I, Egweski, am ahead of my story. I am hailing mountains, voices skate, flow beneath ice shelves, grope through cracks to catch each breath, freeze the voice to itself, a duck splayed in ice still flying, its voice racing beneath slivers. Voices from nose-blowing ravens, they grind sputum beneath their heels, curious beady heavens crane, peer. Female voices, male. My husband's voice whines, wraps around my body, deeply patient, fevered, his slender mouth a O of wet kisses. His voice a prayer lifting off a lake, broad as a tree trunk, moves as an infant finger. He is wood smoke, grass-fired soot, grapefruit, a writing paper, a song in the sweat lodge, a stake in rib woman. I build this story like my lair, one willow, a rib at a time, bend it into my hip, ground into earth. I walked the forest, hitchhiking seeds clung to my socks, hopped into my pant cuff, bedded into the swollen lips of my boots. I walked slow, held a bucksaw, an axe, bled the willows, draped skins, hide blankets, tarps over their crippled bodies. This book took shape. In this lair I lived in darkness, dug a pit, heated the grandfathers till they sweated. Dreams dripped from my breasts, from my many lips. Have I told you where I grew up? On a reserve, in a clearing. A reserve called Witagusagaikan. There they burned the flesh eater on ice. That is another story. We were divided by creeks, many hills, cabins ruled by men, a spin in the rest of the wives kept woman. Even Nukumak, We competed with one another, stole, shunned one another, everyday events. We were all saints. A spin, gone for good, the cream butter belly, the fat eater lived when travel was horse and wagon. She stayed in a Ukrainian farmer's granary until Wapistiguan built her a log cabin. They owned a pickup truck. She never learned how to drive. They drove to Manawans, where cowboys and Indians gathered, to town, to residential school to visit us. They stooped, picked rocks and roots, shoveled manure, worked in sugar beet fields, janitored in sick buildings. They drifted woods, mountains, back to Witagusagaykan. Three-person, Maganak, Uspagan, I, Ekwiski, Wapan. We inherited laughter, mule skulls, working hands. None escaped Bakakus. We traveled on brooms, jalopies, luxury cars, ships, airplanes, trains. We covered great distances. We all had loves, secret loves, snake-tongue lovers. A spin believed in medicines. Three-person and mechanic were like her. My medicine came from the old men, the old women. I have no roots, no herbs, just dreams. No one escaped us. No one expected us, the brown skins, to get anywhere, especially us womans. On the 27th of April, 1639, Father Francis du Person wrote, "All their actions, my savages, are dictated to them directly by the devil who speaks to them, now in a form of a crow or some similar bird, now in a form of a flame or a ghost, and all this in dreams. They consider the dream as master of their lives. It is the God of this country. It is which dictates them their feasts, their hunting, their fishing, their war, their trade with the French, their remedies, their dances, their games, their songs, their loves. To cure a sick person, they summon the sorcerer, who, without acquainting himself with the disease of the patient, sings and shakes his tortoise shell. He gazes into the water and sometimes into the fire to discover the nature of the disease. They believe in the mortality of the soul, which they believe to be corporal, and they make no mention of either punishment or reward. In the places where souls go after death, so they do not make any distinction between the good and the bad, the virtuous and the vicious, and they honor equally the interment of both. And so, a spin, gone for good, three-person, Makanak, Wapan, and I, Ekwiski, lived, shared a story, sang into the darkness. First sound. I listened to my breath, dragged the sound deep from my belly, held it. When rolling head surfaced, she lounged, let out a huge I thought of a man in a wheelchair, mauve crocus on the side of his head. He filled the whole mall. Beloved, sweet, the echo of my breath. Are you making fun of me? He asked. I'm having my own. As we came, all my relations say hi.